With the advent of Uzziah, Judah will experience a reinvigoration. However, it's going to be the last few years before Israel falls in the north. This, of course, involves Tiglath-Pileser and Shalmaneser and Sargon, these kings who come down uh, from an ascendant Assyria and destroy the northern 10 tribes permanently. Uzziah, however, becomes a placeholder of potential, of real reform, of change, of hope. When Uzziah dies, we find that Isaiah, the prophet, mourns excessively because there's a feeling like there's a closing of a chapter, like all hope is lost, especially with the northern 10 tribes being destroyed in about the same time. What we also see is modern, uh, what we call empires, begin to rise. And these empires will trade power back and forth in increasing circles of power, real power. These are Assyria and Babylon and Greece and Rome. The next few centuries are going to be filled up with a change in the world order. And it happens sort of marked around the time of Uzziah as the world changed. I kind of look at that and I wonder if God was giving Israel a hope through Uzziah that would sustain them, even looking back that someday Messiah will come, someday the world will be different. And it'll look sort of like this, a glimpse to the time of David, to the time of Solomon. I mean, it's a little esoteric, but it is something to think about. And so we pick up in verse 17 of chapter 14. Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived 15 years after the death of Joash the son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Judah? They conspired against him in Jerusalem. He fled to Lachish, but they sent after him to Lachish and killed him there. Then they brought him on horses, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. All the people of Judah took Azariah, who is Uzziah, who was 16 years old, made him king in place of his father Amaziah. He built Elath, restored it to Judah after the king slept with his fathers. Now, this is something I got to wonder about. Okay, so they kill the father, but they make his son king at 16 years old. This is an inter-palace court intrigue. We have no idea what exactly caused it. But Azariah, Amaziah, much like his father, is assassinated by his own circle. But it's not a malicious assassination. They leave his son alive and make him king. It must have been personal. It must have been him that was the problem. You kind of wonder about stuff like that, don't you? And so in the 15th year of Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel, became king in Samaria, reigned 41 years. You can look at a king's chart and sort of see the overlap between all of these kings. I used to have one that I would pass out to people I really like. It's a good one. It's based on Edwin Teale's work. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not depart from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which he made Israel sin. He restored the border of Israel from the entrance of Hamath as far as the sea of the Arabah, according to the word of the Lord of the God of Israel, which he spoke to his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet who was in Gath-hepher. For the Lord saw the affliction of Israel, which was very bitter, for there was neither bond nor free, nor was there any helper for Israel. The Lord did not say that he would blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them from the hand of Jeroboam, the son of Joash. And so you see here God keeping his people alive, keeping his people going, even in their absolute rebellion, until his judgment will fall. And of course, Jonah becomes a real key in that story, and my view on that's pretty clear, but we'll talk about that a different day too. Now, the rest of the acts of Jeroboam and all that he did in his might and how he fought, how he recovered for Israel Damascus and Hamath, which belonged to Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even the kings of Israel, and Zechariah's son became king in his place. And so Jeroboam II is a successful king in the way that you order it, even though he's an absolutely rebellious king, not one of God's people. But we pick up in chapter 15, verse 1. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Uzziah became Amaziah, king of Judah, became king. He was 16 years old when he became king. He reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jechaliah of Jerusalem. He did right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done and more. He's a much better king. Only the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burned incense on the high places. The Lord struck the king so that he was the leper to the day of his death, and he lived in a separate house, while Jotham, the king's son, was over the household, judging the people of the land. Now the rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Azariah slept with his fathers, and they are buried with him in his fathers, the city of David, and Jotham his son became king in his place. Now he gets much better treatment in the book of Chronicles, but here Uzziah is treated as a placeholder, and of course pointed out that he is struck with leprosy. And the intimation is because he failed to confront the sins that the people committed by sacrificing on high places. Well, other people did that. Why didn't they get judged the way Uzziah did? Well, because Uzziah was a godly man. And there's part of the issue, is that God's people always receive a more immediate and stricter judgment than those who aren't God's people. If you're going to be God's people, you got to walk with God. And you got to walk with God in all your ways. You got to know him in all your ways, or you hang out in risk. Sometimes that bothers me intensely, the idea that we get judged harder sometimes than the world. Why do the wicked prosper? Well, because God disciplines those who he loves. That's why. And so if you find yourself under the discipline of the Lord, content yourself with, God loves me more. That's a good place to put that. But we move on. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Zechariah the son of Jeroboam became king over Israel and Samaria for 6 months. He did evil in the sight of the Lord his fathers had done, did not depart from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which he made Israel sin. Then Shallum the son of Jabesh conspired against him, struck him before the people, and killed him, and reigned in his place. Now the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are killed. They are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. So why don't you hear much about Zechariah? Because his reign's so short. It's like Zimri, nobody cares. This is the word of the Lord, which he spoke to Jehu, saying, your son to the 4th generation shall sit on the throne, and so it was. And there's the answer, right? Why did he sit on the throne? Because God had made a promise to Jehu. He would have a 4-chair dynasty. Well, okay, technically it's done, and now you're done. Shallum the son of Jabesh became king in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah. He reigned 1 month in Samaria, and then Menahem son of Gadi went up from Tirzah, came to Samaria, struck Shallum son of Jabesh in Samaria, killed him, and became king in his place. Now the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. Then Menahem struck Tirzah and all who were in it, and its border from Tirzah, because they did not open to him. Therefore he struck it, ripped up all its women who were with child. Yeah, lots of changing hands, lots of instability. It's pretty bad. But remember, these are the last few years before God will bring his final judgment on Israel. We should expect a descent into chaos. If you aren't going to follow Christ and you reject him completely, you get lots and lots of chaos.